Hello Rebels, welcome back to Rebel Base. I'm Rebel Leader bringing you another What If video. Today we will discuss what would happen if Ahsoka never left the Order. Thank you all for the support on the recent videos, and let's dive in. Ahsoka was still reeling at what the Council had said to her. How could being falsely accused for a crime she didn't commit be some test for her? She knew that in order to become a Jedi Knight, you have to face some big test within the Force and be the better for it. The Council saw it this way, but she did not, and she wasn't better off because of what happened. Ahsoka made the decision to leave the Order. She couldn't believe that the Order that raised her and looked after her would turn their backs that quickly. She finally understood that the Jedi Order didn't stand for what it used to. This war had influenced the Order for the worse. They were becoming what they said they would never be: soldiers. She knew that Anakin would try and change her mind about leaving, which is exactly what happened. Anakin confronted Ahsoka and pled with her to stay in the Order and give them another chance. Ahsoka loved her time with Anakin, and it meant the world to her that he wanted her to stay. This is where Ahsoka had to make a decision that would change her life. Either she would leave and become a civilian, or she would stay and become a Jedi Knight. After speaking with Anakin, Ahsoka made the decision that she would stay and accept what had happened as her Jedi Knight trial test. Ahsoka was ready to be a Jedi Knight. Her recent ordeal changed the way she thought about what it means to be a Jedi. At first, she thought that being a Jedi meant that she had to do what the Council wished, no matter what. She could see now that being a Jedi now meant that she had to do all she could to protect those that couldn't protect themselves. This helped open her eyes to what was going on around her. Sure, the Jedi were fighting a war to bring peace to the galaxy. She could also see that this was putting people needlessly in danger. Ahsoka would be able to spend time with Anakin as his equal. They would get to spend time fighting side by side in the Clone Wars once again, till Anakin gets called back to watch Palpatine. With Ahsoka having chosen to follow the Jedi once again, this would change her fate. By joining the Jedi, this changed her path. With her back in the fold, Ahsoka would never truly have gained the perspective she did when she met the Martez sisters. Thus, Ahsoka would more than likely not have been led to Mandalore by Bo-Katan to help with Maul. Ahsoka would have never been able to sense what was happening with Rex and the clones and most likely would have died. This would have made it so that Ezra and his crew would have never joined the rebellion as well. Ahsoka would prove to be the catalyst not only for the future rebellion, but for Anakin as well, with her rejoining the Jedi. Anakin is glad to have Ahsoka back and would ask for her to be by his side so that he could continue to protect her. This request by Anakin would be a welcomed one, and one request that Ahsoka would love to follow. Ahsoka would be able to be there for Anakin when he needs her most. Ahsoka would prove to be the driving force keeping Anakin as close to the light as she possibly could. Ahsoka would be there for Anakin when he starts to have dreams about Padme dying. The respect Ahsoka has for Anakin would cause her to help him keep it a secret and secretly look for an answer as to why he is having these dreams. Having Ahsoka around would cause him to go to her as well, with the news that Palpatine is a Sith Lord. Anakin would go to her because she would be one of the only people he trusts fully. Ahsoka would go with Anakin with this information to Mace Windu. Together they would tell him about what Palpatine had told Anakin. Mace would tell the two of them to wait till he confronts Palpatine. Ahsoka, sensing the distress inside Anakin, would be smart enough to know what Anakin is thinking. She would ask Anakin about what he wants to do about the situation. Anakin would begin to divulge the rest of what Palpatine told him. He would tell Ahsoka that Palpatine knows about Padme and that Anakin is fearful for her life. He would also explain to Ahsoka that Palpatine mentioned to him that only with his help and through the power of the dark side can he have the power to keep Padme from dying. Ahsoka can see the hurt in his eyes. She can sense that this has been eating him up and causing an internal struggle within him. No matter how much she tries to convince him that this will not help Padme, she understands that love is the main force that drives Anakin. Ahsoka closed her eyes to search for a way through the Force on how to best help Anakin. When Ahsoka opened her eyes to speak with him, she saw that he was gone. Ahsoka wasn't surprised that he was gone. She knew that she had to find him and had to do it quickly. Ahsoka made her way to the Chancellor's office. She had no idea what she would find, but knew Anakin wasn't in a great state of mind. Ahsoka could hear the crash of lightsabers and the pleading of Palpatine asking for Anakin's help. Ahsoka finally got to the doorway, and she could see Windu standing over Palpatine. She could hear Mace tell Anakin that he was too dangerous to be left alive. What she heard and saw next shocked her to the core. She heard Anakin say that he needed Palpatine, and in one swift arc of his saber, take Windu's hand clean off. She then witnessed Windu being shocked by Palpatine and get thrown out the window to oblivion. Anakin could sense what Mace was going to do with Palpatine. He knew that Mace would go to get rid of their enemy right after Anakin brought this to his attention. Anakin was unaware of what he wanted to do. He knew that he wanted to protect Padme at all costs. The only way to do that would be to find out all that Palpatine knows about how to keep people alive. Anakin made his way to Palpatine's office. He had been there 100 times before, but this time was different. He had to make the decision if he would stand by what Ahsoka had said about this not helping Padme, or if he would join Palpatine and learn how to prevent people from dying. Anakin arrived to find Windu standing over Palpatine. He knew that Mace would not let him live, but still he implored that they must take him before the Senate to be tried. Mace told Anakin that he was too dangerous to be left alive. Anakin didn't know what to do. He agreed with Mace that Palpatine was too dangerous to be left alive. He also knew that Palpatine may be his only hope to save Padme. Anakin knew what choice he had to make. He knew that if there was a slight chance that Padme could be saved, he had to take it. Suddenly he heard the plea of Palpatine that he didn't want to die, and he could save Padme. Anakin's love for Padme got the better of him, and as Mace began to bring his lavender saber down, Anakin brought his up to meet Windu squarely on the wrist. Anakin's decision was made, and he couldn't go back now. He saved Palpatine's life by effectively causing that Windu be put to death at the hand of Palpatine. Anakin knelt before Palpatine to join him, receive his title of Darth Vader, and start Order 66. That's when Anakin could feel a presence behind him. He could feel the sadness and disappointment emanating from this individual. He turned to see Ahsoka standing in the doorway. He could see her face and how sad she was. Ahsoka was shocked by what she had seen. She couldn't believe that the Anakin she knew would join the Sith. Ahsoka turned her head slightly so that she could hide her tears from Anakin. Ahsoka knew that Anakin was gone now and someone else was standing there before her. Still, she tried to make one last attempt to reach Anakin. She began to reason with him that this would not help Padme and that he was putting her in danger. Before she could say anything else and before Anakin could respond, Palpatine chimed in. Palpatine, in his most velvety, soothing, raspy voice, began to persuade Anakin that Ahsoka was a threat. Palpatine mentioned as well that by taking care of Ahsoka, it would prove his loyalty and help Padme. Ahsoka began to tell Anakin that Palpatine couldn't be trusted and that he was lying. She tried to get Anakin to see what was going on. She couldn't let Anakin go down the path that he had chosen when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see the 501st coming towards her. They began to fire upon her without warning, and she did all she could to block their blasts and maintain her ground. Ahsoka began to lose ground, but looked back to Anakin for help, when suddenly Ahsoka began to be electrocuted by Palpatine. Palpatine, seeing that Anakin couldn't make the decision he needs, took matters into his own hands until there was nothing left of Ahsoka. All Anakin could do was sit and watch as one of his best friends was put to death before his eyes. That didn't matter anymore, and he had to carry out his master's plan. Ahsoka always wanted the best for Anakin. Even with that desire and her choosing to stay within the Jedi Order couldn't prevent his eventual turn to the dark side. Ahsoka will always be someone who saw the best in Anakin, and I believe that if done differently, she could have turned him back to the light. If you would like to see more Ahsoka What Ifs, then leave a like on this video and feel free to stay tuned for more. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and may the Force be with you, always.